Well, good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us wherever you guys are located. We're going to hang out here for a couple minutes to let everyone log on. Thank you so much for your time here today. We will be getting started here shortly. If you guys do have any questions, my colleague Daniel Santiago will be monitoring our Q&A box during the chat. But we're really excited to have Sheila Folk on from Travel Industry Solutions, and we'll get started here shortly. Thank you so much for logging on promptly, and we'll be getting started here in a minute. All right, everybody. I think we're gonna get started here. Thank you so much for joining us here on our third version of our takeoff series from Regal Wings. My name is Chaz Dunwoody. I am the director of sales here at Regal Wings, and I have my friend Sheila Folk on board from Travel Industry Solutions. He is the CEO of Travel Industry Solutions. Hi, Sheila. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you? Actually, I know I'm not as good as you. I know you've had an amazing time in Europe, and I'm super, super jealous. I want to be there. And I know Daniel's in Puerto Rico, which is the good life every day. So,
Right. I personally, yes, I am in Europe right now. I've been here since March 5th. I attended Astor River Cruise Expo, and then we joining another river cruise on this in on the Rhone River. Ironically, I've been on 53 ocean cruises, and the last cruise I went on was my first river cruise. So I'm going on another river cruise here next week. So I'm getting a little spoiled this during this month.
yeah, yeah, living the dream.
I know, right? So Sheila, before kind of getting started, why don't you tell everybody who you are, what your business is, and what Travel Industry Solutions can do for the travel industry?
Great. Thanks so much for having me here today. I see some familiar names on the call today. I'm Sheila Folk. I'm the CEO and founder of TIS. I'm also a travel advisor, just like you. That is how I actually met Daniel many, many years ago. I did a lot of bookings with Regal Wings. So I started my agency around 8 years ago. I grew it to 8 million in sales in 2 years with two people. My background, though, prior to that was in risk management and various hospitality verticals. So I identified some holes inside of the industry around legal protection and operational tools and launched TIS about 4.5 years ago. So, TIS is a technology platform that delivers all types of legal forms and protection on demand within minutes, tailored to this industry and each and every user on our platform. I am not a lawyer. I do have a partner who is a lawyer and who has worked on the ground in over 100 countries. We also engage lawyers in various specialties. I do not believe in one and done or relying on a solo lawyer who is a jack of all trades. We tap into labor experts, privacy experts, travel law experts. We serve the US and Canada. We just did a soft launch into Canada last year. So, inside of our platform, we do have e-sign. We do have a secure credit card vault. We realize that not every travel advisor is using a CRM or is using a CRM with that sort of functionality. So, as part of our platform. We monitor laws, we provide guidance around those laws. We update the agreements frequently, as well as provide auto updating technology that you can place on your website, and a bunch of other tools that I used in my agency to grow my agency. So, workflows, forms, there's all sorts of education. And of course, what we're going to talk about today, the 40 pages of guidance that we pushed out on the DOT rules that nobody in the industry was actually even thinking about or had considered for the bulk of advisors who are not merchant of record. And I'm really excited, and I really hope this happens within the next week. Is we are about to introduce the very first real-time fraud detection tool at the credit card vault level in the industry. This will be huge. I have meetings and lunches with industry executives, heads of consortia, and host agencies, and the amount of fraud that is happening inside of our industry is staggering. I'm going to tell you, these agencies are being hit with two, three, $400,000 fraud tickets. Some of that are individual tickets, and some of it is an aggregation across the entire network. So this is really going to help stop fraud before you make payments to suppliers, because these suppliers are coming back after you. So that's really exciting. And then we have a host of other things coming soon. So stay tuned.
See, that's wonderful. I mean, for my background being heavy outside of the airline industry, I know there's so many things that go into a travel purchase, and really making sure as a travel agency and travel advisor and owner, a host agency owner, to being protected with legal services is such a unique element in this industry. But we're so happy to have you as a partner and to be a partner of Industry Solutions. But for you who haven't worked with Regal Wings before, Regal Wings is a luxury air concierge company. We've been around since 2006. We specialize in what's called premium cabin air. We try and make airfare as easy as possible for you. And Sheila is a big component of how our business actually works and how you can integrate that into your success. But what we focus on is premium economy, business, and first class air into Europe. As Sheila has mentioned, I had the lucky pleasure of spending a lot of time in Europe over the last few weeks. But the biggest components of working with Regal Wings compared to another air supplier is the ease of doing business with us, the complexity of how we make airfare easy, and then if something goes wrong, how we make you look like a rock star. And on top of that, you always earn commission with us, which is a unique element in the air industry and in the travel industry overall. So our unparalleled support really is second to none in the industry. So after registering with Regal Wings, you actually get a preferred concierge agent who becomes your go-to girl or guy, depending on where you're located throughout North America, for your concierge to find all of your best contracted airs, net fares, and the best airfare out there for your client. But the best thing with us, I think personally, is our 24/7, 365 service that is available to any of your clients after you book with us. So, as Sheila mentioned, I did attend the Asa River Cruise Expo in Vienna last week. So on my flight there, I flew from Phoenix to LA, LA to Munich. I was on a pre-cruise charter. But when I purchased the Regal Wings, there was a significant savings on the premium economy air. But one thing that I did is, given the fact that I was a executive platinum member with American Airlines, the premium economy flight then had an upgrade offer about $700 from LA to Munich, which pretty much is a no-brainer for all of us. But as fun as air travel is, as we all know, it's the best part of your way to get to somewhere. Um, when I sat, we got on the, we sat, see, boarded our flight in Phoenix, and we sat on the ground for about 2 hours. So we're seeing our flight tick down, tick down, tick down. And by the time we took off, we were going to have a 19-minute connection in LAX to make an international flight. So naturally, we all thought we were not going to make it. So as I'm on the ground in LAX, I actually called the American Airlines Executive Platinum Desk and said, "Hey, I'm going to misconnect in LA. I'm traveling with my girlfriend. Can you reprotect us on the British Airways flight in business? That's at 8:35." gives us the comfortable time to be at the lounge, kind of get ready to go, and really enjoy our experience on their product. And it's like, well, Mr. Dunwoody, I'm sorry, they're not going to protect your upgrade. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. As someone who flies 175,000 miles with you every year, why would you not be able to do this on a partner airline? And they went down the rigmarole. And at the same time, I put them on hold and I called Regal on the back end and I said, hey, Elizabeth, can you look into my reservation? Here's the code. What can you do for me? I'm flying business. Can you make sure you upgrade, you protect this? So I said at the same time, hey, I'm going to hang up on you if American Airlines calls me back. And as I'm on the phone with her, they call me back. I hang up and I'm like, hi, American Airlines concierge desk. How's it going? And they said, Mr. Dunwoody, thank you so much for your loyalty. Unfortunately, we have expended all options and we will not be able to protect you in business class. As I'm on the phone with American Airlines, I get a text from Regal Wings saying, hi, Chaz, you've been protected on British Airways in business class in on a British Airways flight on a different PNR, on the same PNR that I booked with American Airlines with the same flight that American Airlines wasn't going to protect me with. So if you want more of a testimonial for your clients that you have with us of how our service works, that's exactly why we're such a great partner to work with. We're simplified booking. We are reliable. Our 24/7, 365 program is handled by a Regal Wings employee who is Sabre based, is Amadeus based, is Apollo based, that we have stuff that not even the airlines can have to protect you. So I really love our service. And not only did
Well,
that,
for me, the biggest thing is convenience
yeah,
because, I'm a huge, like, heavy booker in the luxury space,
right.
and time is money. And so, I'm super particular about my partners. I really hone in on just a few of them so that they know my expectations, they know my client base. We work really, really well together. That is a huge, huge component, and why I just, love personally through my agency bookings, booking through Regal Wings. Sorry, I just had to toot your little horn for you because it's really important. Those relationships are critical.
No, exactly. It's obviously I'm on the sales side where it's like we always have our stories and our quips and qualms about how our service actually works. But given the fact this happened a week ago, where it actually is a real world example, is so prudent into what we do. Lastly, one thing with working with Regal Wings as well, there's commission in every single booking that we work with. The travel advisor who you work with, your concierge agent, will disclose if you're working with a net fare, a contracted fare, or what have you on every single booking that you have with us. You develop a great relationship with them, and then they become such an advocacy for your business, similar to how Sheila and her business also works for you as an advocate as well. With that being said, Sheila, can you talk about any kind of current trends in high-end travel or how consumer expectations have shifted over the last few months?
Oh gosh, consumer trends in high-end travel. Oh, I first of all, I'm not seeing any slowdown. So I know that there is a lot of talk about us going possibly into a slight recession. But in the luxury space, I am not seeing it and I'm not heavily booking anymore, but I do still have some of my world cruisers, some of my private jets, some of my not ultra luxe, but luxury. So I'm not seeing any slowdown. I think there's still a huge, huge movement into experiential type of travel. And so, my personal opinion is that AI is never going to, at least in the near future, it is not going to replace the travel advisor who has clients who are hyper focused or who have a high concentration of customers who really want unique experiences. So I don't see AI being able to replace that. I don't see AI being able to tell you, when you walk up that lighthouse and you get almost to the top on the right hand side, you're going to see the really cool hieroglyphic. And then once you reach out the top, there's a really cool little handle right there. And when you reach your hand around and grab it, you'll totally get it. It can't do that. So I would say I'm not seeing really any slowdown, at least from my customers. And I am seeing, even as I continue to refer some of my legacy customers out to a few advisors. my that are I would call them mid-range. All of the inquiries are based around experiences.
Right. And especially on our end too, Sheila, we're seeing the same thing. We actually are seeing business almost double, if not triple, with a lot of our loyal partners over the last quarter or quarter before that. Just because in the luxury sector, you kind of have a unique element with this too, given the fact that it's so service based at the same time.
Hmm.
I had the pleasure of sailing on Talc when I was in before the River Cruise Expo, and I was with Steve Spivak, and I'm like, what is the Talc difference? What is the Regal Wings difference? What is the travel industry solutions difference? It's the personability of it. Personability? That's not a word.
Personalization.
Personalization, there we go. Where that VIP client who comes through your AI, comes through anything, when you call a certain restaurant or a certain hotel or a certain castle, when you have a group going there, it makes a huge difference. At River Cruise Expo, Talc was supposed to be hosting a dinner there, but they actually whisked them off to the one of the four private palaces owned in Vienna that they have an exclusive with. That's what Regal Wings does. That's what Travel Industry Solutions does. That's what Talc does. And that's what you as a travel advisor really has an element of a personalized experience that can't be touched by AI. AI will always enhance your life. It'll never take your place. But as a travel advisor, using companies like Regal Wings, who only works with the travel advisor, Industry Solutions, who only works with the travel trade, gives you such another level of professionalism that is such a huge element to you as well.
Mhm.
So Sheila, I wanted to kind of shift the chat here as well. So I know a lot of our conversation today is about DOT and what's been happening with travel advisors. Can you talk about the kind of the implications that travel industry solutions can help travel advisors with in DOT or any kind of regulations of that nature?
Yeah, so when we first started hearing about this earlier last year, um, and I was, in the trade press, and I was listening to other people talk about the implications of this. And as the bill got refined, or as the ruling got a little bit more refined, and we went through revisions, everybody was really focused on the merchant of record. And yes, obviously there are impacts to the merchant of record. But the first place my mind went to was, what about all of the advisors out there who are not merchant of record? Our customers do not understand if we're merchant of record or not. We are the front line. They're going to be coming to us with the questions. And as somebody who also packages a lot of air with I book a lot of Regent cruises. And so with Regent, my customers take advantage of their contracted air. I immediately had reached out to Regent and Scenic and a few others that package air and go, well, how are you going to handle this? Are you going to communicate any changes to me? Are you going to communicate it to my customer? What's going to happen if you have to issue a future voucher for the medical reasons and then they cancel the part of the cruise, but now they have this voucher? And, how is all of that going to work? And then I reached out to Regal Wings, and how are you going to handle this? And how are you going to actually step in and help the agent with this as a result of this ruling? And what happens to travel insurance? Is anything going to change? So we had Allianz participate in contributing to some of this guidance. So all my mind went there. Like, what are the questions going to be from my customers? What do I need to know if I'm working with packaged suppliers? What do I need to know if I'm working with airline consolidators? How can I turn this into a value proposition so that I can promote myself and leverage this to get more clients to realize that this was going to be a real sticky situation, and they should be booking with a travel advisor who is familiar with what is happening inside of the space. And so we created all of this, which because you guys were a big contributor to this. So we delineated the rule. We sectioned all of this off. We gave clients or our customers all of the email disclaimers, all of the sequences, how to communicate with your supplier to ask questions or ask for refunds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It ended up being like 40 pages. And I think that this this is bigger than what people have really paid attention to. And so we've tried to really shine a light on it. And I think it's still a very important topic. I think we'll see changes this year with a new administration. As you know, every time administration changes, something changes. It's just, it happens. So, but we're keeping an eye on it. And I haven't talked to Jody lately about what's happening with is it the ancillary fees?
Right. And I can jump in here too, because
Yeah.
basically, so Jody is our legal liaison for actually both of our companies at this point now. So, in regards to ancillary fees, in compliance with DOT guidelines, Regal Wings ensures that additional fees are clearly disclosed during the booking process, and the practice prevents unexpected costs for clients and maintains adherence to regulations requiring the disclosure of optional service fees. I definitely thought of that quote off the top of my head, by the way. Um, Secondly, when a travel advisor purchases air through Regal Wings acts as the merchant of record. So, as the merchant of record, Regal Wings is responsible for processing payment, managing financial transactions, and ensuring compliance with relevant tax regulations. This arrangement simplifies the booking process for travel advisors, and Regal Wings handles the complexities associated with payment processing and regulatory compliance. What does that actually mean? So if your client requires a refund, we get you the refund. If your client has a delayed flight, we figure it out. If you are charged something from the airline that you shouldn't have, we come to bat for you. So it really is one of those things overall in the legality section of working with an air supplier. Working with a company like us actually insulates you better than working almost directly with an airline or another consolidator, just because we have such a human-based element and we're such a niche brand that our buying power falls in a sector of the industry that is so protected, the luxury traveler, that if you lose a potential world cruise guest or a around the world traveler for an airline, they don't want to make them mad. So working with us with a person of that nature is such a huge element of simplicity and also a way to protect yourself just because you're not going to be due refunds due to a DOT ruling that is not fair to you, fair to us, but we also really are a great way to make sure you're set yourself up as a great investment for your client to work with you.
Yeah, I would say, to add to that, just kind of get your mind thinking about it. So let me just read off some of the categories here, and I guarantee there isn't a person on the call that probably knows about, in detail about three of these. So Uh, do you know what the definition is of significant changes or delays? Do you know when the automatic refund rules come into play? What is the refund timeline? What about full refunds? How do full refunds work? What about partial refunds or partially used tickets? Refunds for significant delays. What about refunds around checked baggage? Do you know all of the different rules around the timeline around checked baggage? Do you know what the rules are around serious communicable diseases and refunds? So that one is going into effect, by the way, April 28th of this year. That one was delayed, and that has an effective date of April 28th this year. So, what about refunds around the ancillary services that have been prepaid, the merchant of record responsibilities, airline reimbursement timeline? What are the consumer notifications that you need to make? So, all of these types of things are, all of these issues are handled now by somebody else. Thank you very much, Regal Wings.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's honestly, Sheila, you wrapped it up so well just because there are so many things that go into a seemingly easy transaction because back in the day, you got on a plane, you got there, you're done. Now, hey, if I get delayed 3 hours, can I get reimbursement? Technically, the answer is yes, but then you got to rebook the flight with that new price, which really isn't subjective or objective for you to make sure that we can make sure that's okay for you. Anyways, so Sheila,
You know what I'm going to do? If you don't mind, what I'll do, Chaz, and I've got to get into it, I've got to get the little email verification, is
Yep.
I can post this for everybody. I'll post a link. I need to get the code here to log into the system. I do have a little downloadable guide.
Yeah, Sheila,
on
we
the
we can
DOT
we can
stuff.
include that kind of on the follow-up to everybody. We're sending this to everybody at post webinar, so we can make sure we include that.
That then I'll send it to you. It's like a two-sheeter, so I'll give that to you and then you can send it to everybody.
Perfect.
Perfect.
So the last question I have in regards to DOT regulations, how can non-compliance impact business and reputation of a travel advisor?
Oh gosh, you're asking me some pretty detailed questions about how that I've been trying to put out of my head for a while now, Chaz. I really think that it's super important. It can come back and bite you in the butt, even if you aren't the merchant of record. I think the biggest issue here is that if you're not the merchant of record, you want to make sure that you are still serving your customer in the best way because that can result in things like chargebacks or disputes with your customers. And of course, merchant of record agents, they must comply. They don't have a choice to comply, and there will be ramifications for them. There will be different ramifications for agents who are not merchant of record, in my view. And that leads to reputational damage, loss of customers, loss of revenue, loss of time. So think about it in a bigger, more holistic way than just focusing on, one rule or one disclosure you have to make. Think about the overall impact to your business.
That's fantastic. So pivoting to a little less serious topic. Sheila, when you started working with Regal Wings, what was the best insight you have for new advisors and how did you integrate us into your business kind of to expand your air sales and what made it easy?
I would say the biggest thing is I learned how to communicate a little bit clearer and better so that I could get what I wanted back for my customer quicker. So, and that goes for anything in life, really, if you think about it. So, making sure that I clearly communicated my expectation. I would like to have X, Y, and Z. It wasn't just about the flights. I want to see what the net rate is. I want to see what the retail rate is so that I could make a decision. I need to have this by X, Y, and Z time. I would like to look at only this option or three options or whatever it is. I can be reached here even after hours if it was an emergency, whatever it was. I think is setting expectations is so important, not just with your clients, but with your suppliers. When you set expectations, then you have a smooth relationship. And so I practice that with my own clients. And so I was able to obviously serve their needs better and quicker based on the relationship that I built with Regal Wings. And that allowed me to have confidence that my air bookings were good, that they were solid. I had a reliable team behind me. All of those things help to grow your air bookings. And I also learned you have a $2,000 margin to work with or a $500 margin to work with. Bump it up, but not as high as the retail rate. And that's going to help you win more clients. And it's also going to bring those clients back to you again and again and again and again and again. So you don't want to go all the way up to retail. And that will help you to have that retention. And so I would say lots of things. The relationship, my own way of operating and setting expectations, understanding what the sweet spot was for how to work with those margins. All of those things are really, really, really important. And even if later, I also stopped packaging air that was contracted air with certain suppliers that I was very used to packaging the air with. It just made things simpler for me when there was a problem. I know there's a lot of customers or agents out there who may be using like Pleasant Holidays or Vax or things of that nature to book their air, wrap it up in their packages. Don't discount splitting it out
Right.
because so many things can happen. Don't look at it just purely from your ease or a price standpoint. Always think about the what ifs.
Right.
I hope that kind of covers it.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of hitting the nail on the head where we're trying to redefine bundling where given the fact when you develop a relationship with one of your concierge agents, if you've got a safari booked, a luxury cruise, a tour that has air bundled, it would behoove you not to say, "Hey, can you look at what you can do here?" Not only could you make more money, it might save your clients money on the long run as well. It's kind of a perfect example of how integrating us into your business is a fantastic opportunity. So Sheila, kind of the last few points here. I know that we've talked a lot about Regal Wings. Can you talk more about travel industry solutions, what tools you have, and how you can help out the travel industry overall?
Yeah, so in under 3 minutes, your agency can be protected and comply with laws and regulations. I would say that one of the biggest mistakes that we see travel advisors make is they don't have a privacy policy on their website. That's really, really, really important. It's actually required by law if you are collecting any information from your customers, and that can even be through cookies. So please make sure that everybody has a privacy policy. Um, if you have not had an updated client terms and conditions in even the last since October, your terms and conditions are already outdated, and I can tell you that because of the DOT rule. They are outdated. So as part of what we do, we keep those updated and monitor laws and not just send you, here's a misnomer, okay, guys, don't fall into the free updates trap. All right, from certain individuals. Free updates should not be an email with 3 sentences that says, here, put this in your terms and conditions. An update should be a solid review, a complete review of all your entire document with the updates included so you don't have conflicting provisions and with a review of any documents that connect to that. That is what we do. We do a full review. We have some new stuff coming out. Besides the fraud detection, we have the industry's first real group terms and conditions. Um, That'll be bundled with the group leader agreement. So we have one for net agencies and one for gross agencies, and we have a destination wedding bundle coming out. So there's a contract with the wedding couple, so agency and wedding couple contract, along with the terms and conditions for the guests. So that's coming out as well. Also, we are working on our CRM integrations. I know so many people have been waiting for this for a long time. We've had a few things crop up, and I've been talking about it for a while, but I promise you, we are finally starting to work on the Travify piece. So that's our first. So that is coming up. So you won't have to log into TIS to use our solutions. The idea is you won't have to leave your CRM to use the latest agreements. But set up a free demo. I think one of our customer success managers is on the call today. I'll send that link to you, Chaz, and you guys can set up a free demo. We do one-on-one demos so you can check out the product.
No, that sounds fantastic. I mean, Sheila, the information you've given today has been fantastic. So, a recap from the Regal Wings side. So, for anybody who hasn't worked with us before, we really are a simple solution to maximize not only your time, but your client's money and a concierge element that gives you a level of professionalism in the air sector that no one else in the industry is offering. We specialize in premium economy, business and first class air into international destinations. So, Europe, Africa, South America, Asia, Australia. We do not offer economy bookings in or domestic or airfare to the Caribbean or Mexico. But the biggest element that working with us that gives you is a peace of mind with a 24/7 service, 365, that my testimonial really should have kind of rang through to you. The 24/7 line is available to your clients at the time from 72 hours until the time they reach their final destination. It's available via WhatsApp, via internet connection, or via phone call. It's really an amazing piece that way too. And it's a way to really maximize not only your client's time, but also the commission for you as a travel advisor and your client's budget. Our working hours are 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, we do not take bookings on the weekend, but we do offer a full service suite for anybody looking for an airfare solution that is DOT compliant, that is travel industry solutions compliant. And other than that, if we have any questions, Daniel, that we haven't answered, anything in the chat box that we need to address at this time.
No, we addressed a couple of questions already. The last question, what's the timing for the quote? And yes, we are same as any other supplier. It's 330 days for the airfare. Somebody asked about our 24/7. I said obviously it's through our regular phone number, which is 212-444-9942, and that is a prompt for emergencies. We are starting to build a WhatsApp version of this, which should be out soon, but yeah, as of right now, they can email or call. All that information is always given with you guys on the ticket. Whenever we send over the tickets, you'll have our emergency information, which you can add to whatever package you send to your clients. We always send it as well. And again, I don't think there's any other questions. If you do have a question, just let us know. And Chance, thanks so much, and thanks so much for Sheila. I know we kind of talked about this in what was it last year in Orlando, having lunch in that golf club. And then here we are. So I'm glad that we could make it happen.
Absolutely. And then
Thank
one
you.
last thing, guys, too. We do offer travel agent copies, consumer copies, FAQ of everything. It shows all the partners we work with. We work with all major airline groups. We really try and make your life as easy as possible. I know we're coming up to a hard stop for both Sheila and I, but it's been a great evening with all of you, or afternoon or morning. We look forward to working with all of you, and thank you so much for your time.